We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms, it's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities.
Welcome back to my space, and please subscribe for more. Now, the WhYte Texas farmers are freaking out, and it's not because of the weather, my good people. It's because the workers who have kept their farms running for decades have stopped showing up. Why? Because of the policies they happily voted for. Many of these same farmers proudly casted their ballots for Donald Trump. But little did they know, they were voting to destroy their own source of livelihood. Let's dive into this madness. I'll be back.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms, it's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all under Republican leadership, not just from the White House, but from the Republicans that were elected in the state of Texas. And if you think this is going to stop at Texas, you've got another thing coming. And you want to know which farms are going to be impacted further down the road? They're going to be safe for now. There's a small percentage of farmers who are actually Democrats, and they understand how important it is to protect their employees, take care of their employees. Those employees who feel safe will keep showing up for work because they know the owners have their backs, which says something about these other farms where the employees are like, I'm too scared to show up. Let me add this final thing. This is going to impact farmers. They're at risk of going out of business. Who's going to jump in? The federal government, to compensate them with our tax dollars. So now our tax dollars is going to be used to cover the bullshit leadership of this administration on top of the overwhelming increasing tax dollars being used by this administration to scare, to deport, to imprison people with brown skin. Like, our tax dollars are not helping everyday Americans at all. And this is just the beginning under Republican leadership.
Them farmers really thought we was going back to them fields. They really thought we was going back to them fields. You know what? My mother was the first generation on her mother's side not to be brought up on a plantation. Not to be brought up on a plantation. That's what I said. My grandfather had a third grade education, but he left my mama 2 houses, property in the bank, property and money in the bank, with a third grade education. And guess what? He worked in fields. My great grandmother worked in fields and cut that cane just like a man. You hear me? And if you think that Eddie Lewis and Victoria C. Jones and all the rest of my ancestors bust their tail in them fields for us to go back to the fields, absolutely not. That's not progress. We're trying to heal from ancestral trauma. We're trying to heal from that. That ain't happening. That produce could rot in them fields before we go back to them fields. They need to let them know that.
I heard y'all farmers was mad that Trump doing you wrong. I see y'all making these videos. Some of y'all turning your flags upside down and you're saying, nah, this what you get, farmers. I'm not. And then I heard some of you farmers are actually setting other black farms on fires because you jealous of black farmers because they had to get theirs out the mud, but you need some workers on your. I just find it funny. Who y'all thought was gonna come and work on them farms now? Come on now. Who y'all thought was gonna come and get those jobs? This is what y'all wanted because y'all wanted to vote for Trump blindly for absolutely no reason, and guess what? This is what you get. So now a lot of y'all businesses are going out of business. You farmers are crying. You're mad, and guess what? I find it very beautiful. I think it's a beautiful thing that you guys are getting finessed. It is hilarious to me. It is hilarious to me.
It seems crazy to me. I just seen a scale that they put out talking about how much money each demographic makes, which to me is crazy that you even release those numbers. But nevertheless, I just don't understand. This is why the farmers is messed up now, because they see that and they see African Americans at the bottom making $35,000 a year. And they don't know we've been out here grinding and taking care of ourselves this whole time. Because I get mad stuff for free. Like, I don't know anybody who makes $35,000 like on paper who lives at $35,000. Like, they still get their hair done, get their nails done, get everything done because, and you like, how you getting that done? They talk about it, people like, oh, she goes to get EBT, but she got her nails done and she do the, because you know that my man down the street, he flips cars and he gonna let me drive this one as long as I watch his son. Do you know that my girl, she does my hair for free as long as I, hook her up every now and then and come through with the fish plates? Like, we've been on that. We got a whole circuit of people. That's how we move. That's how we live. I wouldn't go by that. That's why these farmers is messed up, because they thought they was going to get the Latinos out of the country and then black people was going to take over.
So I know I was talking about, the Latino vote before. The Viva vote for Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's get on to the white folks. The white farmers. So, word is out now that the white farmers voted for Donald Trump because they thought they were going to get black Americans in the fields. Because they also thought black folks did not have jobs. So when we put this all together, somehow the white farmers were convinced that black folks don't have jobs. We don't work. we don't work. And so they voted for Donald Trump because they thought, okay, he gonna send them in the fields. So Donald Trump and them, with their whole Project 2025, said, okay, so we got to make this happen. So we got to cut these DEI stuff, all this DEI stuff, to put black Americans out of work. When in reality, they put a bunch of white folk out of work just to get black folks out of work. And so all these cuts that are happening are to try and harm black Americans so much till they think that we're going to go into the fields. Now, when you think about that, that makes you double back and see why they want the Latinos out. Because the Latinos, right, to them, they are reproducing entirely too fast, okay? And so they're like, we got to get them out of here because black Americans don't reproduce as fast as the Latinos. And so if we could get them out, then the black Americans can take their place in the field. This is for real. And so now you double back to the black jobs. They're taking your job. Yes, you got to double back to what he said. They're taking black jobs, y'all. Like, they have all this down. Like, they have all this whole circle. So now let's go back to the farmers, if you're still with me, okay? Because the white farmers, that's what they believed was going to happen. So if y'all got all that straight, this is the message to the white farmers. The last thing you want is for Black Americans to be in your fields. Don't let the devil fool you. As a matter of fact, you might want to let the devil fool you to see what's going to happen. Well, I'm trying to tell you, the last thing you ever going to want is Black Americans in your fields. Nah, I'm going to let you fill in the blank on that one. And this goes to show that they will go to any lengths. Remember I said that, first of all, we had the Latinos, some Latinos, not all of them, just them Cuban ones, talk about you're next, right? To Black Americans. So they thought we was immigrants. Okay. And so now we have the white farmers who are still living in the 1700s, thinking back to glory days, quote unquote. They thought with their vote, we were going to the fields. So you got one group thinking they gonna kick us out of here, and you got another group of people thinking that we going to the fields. Now this right here is a real mental problem, because people are literally stuck. I'm telling y'all, people are stuck in the 1700s when they think about Black Americans, okay? I'm telling you, their thought process, they sit around probably campgrounds and picnics and stuff and talk about how can we make this happen? That was their heyday. I'm telling you, when that freaking plantation house burned down in Louisiana, I think, right? That was their heyday. Now, I'm trying to tell you, that was their heyday. When that plantation house down in Louisiana got torched, okay? I'm telling you, that broke them. But I just want to, I want to teach them a little bit more history if I have your attention, right? If I have your attention, right? This is some history that a lot of people don't know, okay? But y'all didn't know Black Americans had white servants? Y'all ain't know that? I mean, it wasn't widespread or anything like that, but we had white servants. Yeah, and they wanted to be our servants because they needed work. They were coming over from Europe. Yeah, and they were docile too. Yeah, they were docile. And Black Americans, the aristocrats, the wealthy ones, because they were wealthy ones, okay? They had white servants. So I don't know if y'all ever see them pictures. Let me find a picture. I couldn't find a picture. I wasn't gonna go back and try to find a picture, but if you can watch videos, you'll be able to find a picture of possibly some Black people in the horse-drawn carriages, and there may be someone white as the horseman or the coach. I'm not sure what you call them, coachman or whatever. Yeah, he worked for them. Yes, indeed. It was a big thing. It was a big thing, when everybody began to see in the early 1900s, what? Black Americans, they use the other word. Black Americans have white servants. Yeah, that's a bit of history they don't like to put on TV. And the reason for it is because they were like, okay, they had, white people here that they could hire. And they also had Black people here that they could hire. But they felt that the white people from Europe were so docile, and they were less expensive. Now, they weren't the only ones who thought that. The wealthy white people thought that too. The wealthy white people were like, yeah, we like the docile immigrant white people. They're a lot cheaper. They take less money. Yeah, so there's a bit of history for you. Oh yeah, it was like that. Oh yeah, because they knew they would have to pay Black Americans a lot more. Lot more. So they always went for the immigrant. And see, when the Black Americans hired the white immigrants, they were like really like, yes, we will do it. Yes, we will do it, because they want to stay in America. Here's the difference though. Black Americans didn't mistreat them. They didn't mistreat them at all. But anyway, that's just a little side note. But yeah, to the white farmers again, this is the last thing you want. The last thing you want is for Black Americans to be out in your fields. The last thing you want. Trust and believe. And next time, you know what? Stop basing your vote on how to harm Black Americans, because you're gonna end up running into that wall that's gonna tumble. Okay, that's what's gonna end up happening. Stop doing that. All of you do it. Like, all of you. You had the conservative Asian Americans coming through with the whole Ivy League school. We don't want Black Americans there. Then you had the I will vote for Donald Trump Cubans, okay, who were thinking, okay, you're next, okay. Okay, we're not immigrants, so we're not next. And now we have the white farmer who thought that they were going to get the Black Americans in the fields. And then this is all off of Project 2025. So now look where you got America. Look where you got the United States of America. And you know, a lot of people say, why Black Americans think everything revolves around them? No, y'all think everything revolves around us because y'all make everything revolve around us. Y'all stuff coming out.
My taxes raised, and why do I have no one to work my farm? I do not understand this, and I know that this was not what Donald Trump meant to happen. I know that he doesn't want us good Trump supporter folks suffering, but we are. Donald Trump, please reverse this. I'm a white person.
Hold on, so let me get this straight. The white farmers in Louisiana, they're mad because people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. Let me run that back. White farmers are mad. The very farmers that voted Republican, okay, they voted for this, are mad that people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. I'm saying you get what you ask for. Hey, it's FAFO type shit, okay? But hey, don't be fooled. I feel like it's gonna come to a point where they're finna make people get on their farms. Don't count me to it. Because if 2025 was a checklist, hey.
So y'all remember when it was said that we taking all the black jobs? They really thought that we was going to be looking for black jobs, y'all. And I woke up this morning, I was scrolling through TikTok, and I saw this guy made a video, and I saved it to my favorites so you can go look for it. And he said he was pretending to be MAGA on one of those other apps. He said they were doing a live, and the farmers were saying that they thought that the black people would be looking for jobs to work on their farms. Now, you got to be kidding me. Do they think we really looking for farm work? Do they not know that we are educated and we got degrees? And being a farm worker ain't even in the jobs categories that we be looking for. They really don't know how educated some of us are. They don't know how many degrees a lot of us have. They got to be really lost if they think that we want to come and work on their farms. They don't know that our parents and our grandparents growing up wouldn't even let us be outside if it wasn't no shade outside. Do they really think that we gonna work on a farm where ain't no shade trees at? I hate to disappoint y'all, baby, but you gonna have to get somebody else to do it, because we ain't working on nobody's farm. Never. The only way you gonna see black people working on a farm is if they own the farm, because we not working on nobody's farm as no workers. So I hate to disappoint y'all. If y'all thought those was black jobs that black people looking for, honey, you better think again, because black folks that I know got good jobs. We've had a black president. We had a black vice president. We got black senators. We got black congressmen. We got black CEOs. We got black doctors. We got black nurses. We got black psychiatrists. We got a lot of good black jobs. Now, I don't know what y'all thought we was going to be farm workers for. We don't even want to work in the fast food industry. Those jobs, we don't want those kind of jobs. So, I hate to disappoint you MAGA people, but we don't do farm work. So get somebody else to do it. Y'all like, share, comment, and repost. Drop in the comments y'all education and y'all good black jobs. But they don't think we got good black jobs out here. So we need to let them see it.
Now for years, agriculture in Texas has relied heavily on migrant labor, mostly undocumented Latino workers, to pick crops, manage fields, and do the kind of hard, back-breaking work most Americans won't do. But when Trump came into office, he promised to crack down on illegal immigration. He built walls, he sent ICE into communities, and he made it much harder for migrants to live and work in the US. White Texas farmers cheered. Finally, they said, "We are taking our country back." And now they are bearing the consequences. The moment the deportation ramped up, farm labor dried up. Entire crops rotted in the fields, harvests were missed, livestock went unattended. Some farmers even offered to double pay just to get anyone to work. But they couldn't find enough people to work on their farms. They are so desperate. Some are saying they need black people to help save their farms. Imagine the very folks their grandparents once exploited in the fields. Now they are hoping we'll come back and rescue them. Historically, black Americans were the backbone of Southern agriculture, not by choice, but by force. Slavery, then sharecropping, kept generations of black families tied to farms they didn't own and rarely benefited from. After the Great Migration, many black Americans moved north to escape this brutal cycle. Today, few black families remain in large-scale agriculture, and for good reason. White farmers who voted for policies to deport the very people keeping their farms afloat are realizing that without Latino labor and with no trust or investment in the black community, they are out of options. What happens when you vote against your own interests? Your farms fails, your crops rot, and suddenly you are begging for help from the very people you once pushed away, oppressed, and enslaved. This is what happens when politics is driven by hate instead of logic. And it is a lesson a lot of Texas farmers are learning the hard way right now. The moral of the story: you can't build a future by tearing people down. And if you try, don't be surprised you are the one left holding the broken pieces. Please like, share, and drop a comment. Do you think black Americans should come help these farmers out or ignore them to learn their lesson? Drop a comment below and please follow for more. This is Mercy Realities.
Black farmers. Imagine how healthy we would be if we had more black farmers. Or let's pretend we have only black farmers, right? I'm talking about the way that the Midwest is going to fall apart without federal funding, specifically all of these farmers, right? But one group that's going to do well is black farmers because they never got all of these handouts. And so I am not opposed to a strategy where we do let some of these rural Midwestern towns kind of fall apart on their own doing and take that as a redistricting opportunity. But think about this. Native Americans, how much healthier would our planet be and our land be if Native Americans had more farmland, which will be one of the groups that have the cash to do so. So I don't know. It's a silver lining I'm trying to think of. I was just trying to think if I've ever known a major farm or plant to have a food recall that was black owned. And if there is, I certainly can't think of it.
About white Midwestern farmers thinking black folks were going to come and work their goddamn fields after they mass deported all of the migrant workers. Sit and size our asses the fuck up. Let us know everything about ourselves. Like when my grandmother looked at me at a young age and said, "Young lady, you need in school and go on to college. Working outdoors is not for you." That's my fucking grandmother. She knew me. She was right. So what did I do? Stayed my ass in school. Went on off to college. And now you're looking at a 6-figure nigga.
So I was on YouTube and I came across this video claiming that white farmers are outraged that black people do not want to work on their farms. And I thought it was fake because I was like, this has to be like clickbait or whatever. So I searched and I came across Facebook, and y'all, the comments were wild. I still wasn't sure if it was real. So I tried to go to the staffing agency's website, and y'all, apparently so many people went to that website that the website crashed. So I figured, okay, maybe this is actually real. So they're basically offering $11 an hour to pick blueberries, 9 to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, from May to July in Louisiana heat. Now, I never heard of Laranger, so I decided to look it up real quick. So here's some info. And just so you know, my source is this website called places.us.com. So anyway, livability is a C-. Population is less than 6,000. Demographics is almost 91% white, followed by black, then Hispanic, then Indian, then Asian, and pretty much 0 Hawaiian. I saw that they voted Republican in 2020, but it probably doesn't take a genius to guess how they voted in 2024. So that's just to give you a little info about the town. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So $11 an hour is what they're offering. Full-time, 7 days a week, 9 to 10 hours a day. Now, according to salary.com, Louisiana's minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. So this is a bump. But let's be real. Now, for some people, they might say, oh, it's a job. Go work it. It's a job. But it's not a job, you know. It's more like a sentence. And then when you look at who they expect to take these jobs, you don't have to guess. It's a page straight out of history. Black folks, migrant workers, you know, the ones who are currently facing deportation right now. Vulnerable communities getting used for back-breaking labor for pennies. But people are saying this is what they voted for. So what do you think? Is it FAO season or what?
Hey, you know, one more thing about that farm thing. Those farmers complaining about how the Trump's trade war is hurting farms. And not just China, even though China no longer buys U.S. beef, that's going to Brazil. They no longer buy U.S. soybeans. They don't buy a bunch of other agricultural products from us because they can source them elsewhere. And these farmers are all over these apps whining and crying that they didn't think it would hurt them. And please, Mr. Trump, I voted for you 3 times and all this kind of bootlicking kind of BS. The other thing about that is, like I said in my other video, excuse me, there's a particular relationship black people and farms in this country, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The other thing is, do you remember during the Biden-Harris administration, their administration worked out a settlement with black farmers to pay them back pay for excluding them from bailout money that they were entitled to. The money only went to white farmers. And so black farmers, that's the way it is in this country, had to sue to get their fair share. And after years of court wrangling in the courts and everything, it was finally settled and black farmers were going to get their due. Sorry, my allergies. And you know why they didn't get their due? Sorry about that. Because white farmers sued to block the government settlement that they had made with black farmers. And white farmers sued saying that the white farmers, were being discriminated against for not getting some of the black settlement money. The black settlement money was because only white farmers got some of the initial bailout money, not black farmers. That's how twisted it is. So to the white farmers online whining about loss of business, threats to having their farms shut down and shut off, I say, fare thee well, good sirs. Fare thee well. You got what you got. You get what you get. You don't pitch a fit. You voted for Donald Trump, and you know what? He is working you over because the big conglomerates, some I've read are owned by J.D. Vance or his companies, are about to buy up your land for pennies on the dollar. And you're going to be one picking those blueberries for $11 an hour, 7 days a week, for 10 hours a day. Literally, how you like them apples?
I always get guys like this that's always just unhappy. They're always just fighting. They're always just, you can do what you want. This is my little space on the internet where I share my thoughts and my feelings. And you always get these people. They're so angry. My question to you, dear sir, why are you so angry? And the funny thing is, I actually made a video about you as well last week. You're so angry with my content, but when I put out a video, you're there to comment. You're there to watch. You're like a very good super fan, but you just don't want to admit it. How about you relax there? First of all, this is my content. I make what I want. And second of all, I don't have to justify anything to you, because if I start having to justify myself to you or anyone else, then I'm going to definitely run into offending some people. That's not what my content is about. My content is just about sharing some thoughts, sharing some ideas. And if I'm a racist in your eyes, then my dear sir, then this country is in deep, deep trouble, because then 99% of people in this country is worse off. But just grow up and just please, just, if I offend you, just block me. But if you really like my content like you do and you comment on every single video, enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. I'll just give you a moment of silence, just so you can calm down and not get so angry. Bye-bye.
I'm in my greenhouse planting some vegetables. And I'm thinking about all these farmers that's losing the farms. All them white farmers. Not the black farmers, because we donating to them. You don't hear the black farmers crying the blues, but them white farmers, oh shit, they talking about they losing their farms now because of Trump. But they voted for Trump. But they losing their farms. Right. The black farmers, you don't hear them crying the blues, right? Here's the difference. See, they wasn't dependent on the government. When you depend on the government to take care of you, my daddy told me never depend on the government. Now see, if they cut my little social security check, I ain't gonna say little, but because I use that piece of coin that I worked for. You understand? I worked 32 years for my monies, for my coins. So it's mine. But I didn't depend on the government in my retired life. You don't depend on the government. No. Anyway, back to the farmers that's losing their farms. I can't even say I feel sorry for you. But this is what I'm going to do. Look here, people. Let me tell you something. Oh, look at here. This is going to be some good eating right here. You understand what I'm saying? Look here. I just grow my own stuff. Look here. That's what I'm doing right there. Yeah. So I ain't worried about them white farmers losing their farms. I ain't even feeling sorry because they voted for Trump. You get what you asked for. You asked for the tariffs, you got them.